Okay, it's not uncommon that I connect with CEOs or other execs hailing from the Whartons, Stanford Business Schools, Harvard Business Schools of the world. And I ask them a handful of questions that are business fundamentals, basic for creating a strategy to win. And they don't have clarity on those questions. Or if they do, I can ask two of their direct reports. These are members of their executive leadership team, and they won't have answers, or they'll have entirely different answers. So today, I'm going to walk you through what those topics are and those questions that create fundamental clarity that any leader needs. And to do so, I'm going to bring you through what I bring them through. It's a web app that I built to make the process more digestible and somewhat color by number. So let me share my screen here, and I'll take you through this web app, which has the most inventive name of the Strategic Roadmap Summary. So there's a lot on this screen. Let me just walk you through it. Fundamentally, across the top or going down the left here, these are at the highest level the questions you need to answer. And you can answer them for your organization. It's important for your organization to have clarity on these things. But every executive has different answers specific to their particular individual role around mission, what it is that you do now. So what must you deliver on with excellence to qualify for this second thing, this exciting vision? This is where you want to go. This is the exciting future that gets you and your entire organization out of bed every morning. You've got your values. This is how you want to operate. These are the non-negotiable ideals that inform the way that you think and the way that you act. And if everybody's on the same page about this, everything goes so much smoother. And if they're not, a heck of a lot of friction. Metrics. This is how success is determined. It's what makes the mission that you have, the what you do, more tangible and measurable to make sure that you're succeeding or not. And then the strategy is what you'll actually do to succeed, what tactics you'll employ, what you're going to deliver on the mission as you progress towards the vision. Differentiation, your comparative advantage to anybody else in your business to do what you do, particularly as an individual or your organization or in the space. It gives you credibility. When you say, I do this and I'm the best to do this and we're going to go here or there, it gives you credibility. The areas you need to improve are your gaps, the blind spots, etc., and then the relationships that are most important to you. And now, this is so fundamental. I mean, so basic. And so it's like you need an entire web app for this. And the question is, how many execs and executive teams and organizations at large have clarity and are on the same page around these topics? And this is even just the most fundamental way to think about mission, vision, values, metrics, etc. When you dive further into these, in each tab of the app, for instance, if you go into, let's say, mission, let me click on this. First off, what I often find is that if I get an executive team in the room, they may not agree on what a mission is. It's this, it's that. And what they conflate is maybe the vision of where they're going with their mission or the strategy. And so I've created areas at the top of each of these modules that say, this is what a mission is. It creates crystal clarity around what you do every day, not where you're going. That's vision. What should it be? It should be super simple. There's no flowery wording here. There's no marketing copy. It's very, very clear. It should be client focused. You've got stakeholders. What it shouldn't be is aspirational. It's not metrics. And so on each of these, you've got clarity around what a mission is, why it's important, and then what it should be and shouldn't be. And then questions around, for instance, your organization. Well, what does your organization do? Without any marketing copy or value prop that's over the top outside of, like, we do this for these kinds of stakeholders. And this is why it's important that we do this to them and what happens if we don't do it. And that question will be different for an executive, a CEO. What do they personally do? What do you as a CEO, if you're a CEO watching this, what do you do in the grand scheme of this organization's mission? Let's go into vision. If you go into vision, you have it is this inspiring future state that you're all working towards. It's what motivates you to get out of bed every morning, but to carry on through all the most challenging times as you pursue this vision. And you want a vision for your organization in the next 12 months. So much changes over the course of a year that in some cases, if you only focus on your vision for 3 to 5 years, it's too far out. And those that are motivated by this vision might say it's so far off, who knows where I'm going to be in 3 to 5 years. So you need something that's more near term, a vision for the next 12 months. It's incredibly exciting. And yet you also need that for 3 to 5 years. And again, you need it for your organization, and you need it for your particular role, for yourself. Of course, you've got your values. These are like non-negotiables by which you make decisions and you act upon those decisions. And you want to get clear on what those values are, but also why are they important? And you want the organization to be able to rattle these off like the back of their hand. And you want to vet incoming candidates and new hires to see if they match these values. Of course, you've got metrics. Everybody knows you need to have measurable goals, and let's talk about what they should be and what they shouldn't be. You don't want too many of them. If you've got too many, then it's the sort of the man that chases 5 rabbits catches none, right? It's not that you can be singularly focused. We all have many things we're going after, but too many creates a lack of focus. And again, there are metrics that determine whether your organization was successful, and again, whether you as an individual, as the leader of that organization, was successful. Oftentimes, as we get into mission or vision or the metrics, I will see the thinking center around in the discussion around the how you're going to get there. And that's a little bit different. That's your strategy. And what strategy is a set of tactics that aim to achieve a particular goal. It doesn't sound very sexy, but that's what strategy is. It's, I'm going to do this to hit this metric. And this is why I believe it holds water. And that's what you have here. What is the initiative, the tactic you're going to undertake, and what metric specifically does this support? If this strategy does not create success in a particular metric, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be doing it. It's a waste of time. And also, why do you believe that tactic holds water? Why do you want your organization to believe in it? Why do you believe in it, etc.? Of course, you get into differentiation, which is in the market. Well, otherwise, we also think about how we're differentiated, but we also have to think about that for ourselves as an individual, as a leader, or as an organization. And the reason why is it gives you credibility and it creates buy-in that you can deliver on this mission. And this can then be used externally in your marketing copy and your value prop. But oftentimes there are things that are important to the future of your to your success at large that you wouldn't ever put into that externally facing marketing positioning that's important for you to realize and to leverage, whether that's experiences, skills, different approaches you have, or disciplines, tools and technologies you might use, or otherwise. And you want to get clear on what this is, again, for yourself versus your organization. And it shouldn't be aspirational. I mean, these should be legitimate, credible differentiation you have now. If you don't, that's where we look at the areas of improvement, right? These are places where you have gaps. Either your organization, your team that you've just inherited a team that's already existing and they have knowledge gaps around the industry at large, or with the business, maybe that's an engineering team and they don't know as much about the business, or it's a sales team that doesn't know very much about the overarching strategy or the technology. Whatever it is, you have knowledge gaps around the industry, you have knowledge gaps around your particular business. There are skill gaps. There are limiting habits and mindsets and attitudes, limiting communication styles. There's experience and exposure that we all just need to develop and to grow. And for each of these, the question is not just what gaps exist, but then how will you go ahead and acquire that knowledge, or acquire the skills, or eliminate those limiting habits and mindsets, right? And then lastly, if you think about any organization or individual, our success is crucially dependent upon others, other companies, other partnerships. And so if I ask the question, who are the 10 most important partnerships for the success of your organization or for your individual success? Who are they? What role do they play? What are they motivated by? And how do you make that mutually beneficial? Not one way where you're getting something, but how do you help them in addition to how they help you? That is what we're looking at here at large when you go through all of this. Now, I'll stop sharing. it seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but it's also fundamental. It has to be done. It's the right thing for any leader to do. And especially considering how many stakeholders depend upon the clarity you have around these topics, and therefore the ability that you have to make the best and fastest decisions and actions around these topics. It's a lot, but it doesn't need to take as much as you think. 1 hour, twice per week, you'll be through this in a month. So 30 days is going to come and go in the blink of an eye. The question is, do you want to have the kind of strategic clarity and leadership leverage that this exercise gives you, or do you not? Do you want that 30 days to go by and not have that? So you can go back and you can look through this video and pause it, look at all the topics and the questions, and run through this yourself. However, if you're interested in exploring an engagement where we go through this together, there's time set aside where you have somebody like myself, a performance coach, stewarding you, and perhaps even your executive team through the work of this, through each module, and challenging some of your assumptions, calling out blind spots, helping you distill your thinking down more clearly. If that's interesting to you, give me a shout. You can DM me on whatever platform you're seeing this, or email me at jz@xform.cc. As always, if this video is helpful, give it a like, follow, subscribe, etc. Share it with a colleague you think it could be helpful for. And until our paths cross again, carry on being the most effective executive that you can possibly be. Cheers.